They are the Nazgûl, ringwraiths, neither living nor dead. At all times they feel the presence of the ring.
Only a few entities in Tolkien's legendarium inspire fear like the Nazgûl, the 9 ringwraiths bound to the will of the Dark Lord Sauron. These shadowy figures stalk Middle-earth as enforcers of Sauron's power. But how did 9 mortal kings fall so far? What gave them such terrifying strength, and how were they ultimately undone? Welcome back. Today we're delving into the haunting tale of the Nazgûl. Let's get started. In the early days of the Second Age, Sauron sought to dominate all life in Middle-earth. Masquerading as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, he taught the elves of Eregion the craft of ring-making. Through their labor, the rings of power were forged, grand artifacts meant to enhance the might and wisdom of their wearers. Among these were 9 rings gifted to men, the most ambitious and fallible of Middle-earth's peoples. The 9 recipients were mighty kings, sorcerers, and warriors, men of great renown in their respective lands. Among them was Khamûl, the Easterling, who would later become second in command to the Witch King. Their identities, mostly lost to history, remind us how thoroughly Sauron erased their humanity. The power of the rings was seductive, granting their wearers vast lifespans, wealth, and influence. But these gifts were a snare. Over centuries, the rings corrupted their souls, bending their will toward Sauron, who controlled the rings through the One Ring. Slowly but inevitably, the kings faded, becoming wraiths, shadows without form, enslaved to the Dark Lord. And this is how the Nazgûl, or ringwraiths, were born. As ringwraiths, the Nazgûl became extensions of Sauron's power, his deadliest servants in his campaign for dominion. Their most terrifying quality was their presence, a malevolent aura that brought dread to any living being nearby. They were nearly invisible to mortal eyes, appearing only as cloaked figures or dark shapes, though in the spiritual plane, they were ghastly and terrible. Their leader, the Witch King of Angmar, was the most powerful of them all. A cunning strategist and a cruel sorcerer, he established his own kingdom in Angmar during the Third Age, relentlessly waging war against the northern Dúnedain of Arnor. Through his efforts, the kingdom of Arthedain fell, leaving the North Kingdom in ruin. The Witch King's prophecy that no man could slay him would echo ominously throughout history.
No man can kill me. Die now.
The Nazgûl served as Sauron's primary agents, spreading terror and seeking the One Ring. In The Lord of the Rings, their first mission was to track down the ring-bearer, Frodo Baggins, who carried the One Ring. Their pursuit culminated at Weathertop, where the Witch King wounded Frodo with a Morgul blade, inflicting a wound that lingered like a shadow on Frodo's soul. The Nazgûl were powerful beings, their abilities extending far beyond mortal limitations. Chief among their strengths was the terror they inspired. Simply being in their presence could unnerve even the bravest warriors. This psychological warfare made them immensely effective. Invisibility was another weapon. By day, the Nazgûl appeared as black-cloaked figures, but under darkness, they became spectral and far more menacing. Their connection to the One Ring meant they could sense its presence, making them relentless trackers. They were also deadly combatants, wielding enchanted weapons such as Morgul blades. In battle, they relied on terror and overwhelming numbers, commanding dread armies of orcs and other fell creatures. The Witch King himself wielded sorcery, summoning black storms and unleashing curses that could cripple his enemies. The Nazgûl's steeds added to their menace. First, they rode great black horses bred for endurance and fearlessness. Later, they took to the skies on monstrous fell beasts, whose piercing screeches heralded doom. Despite their formidable powers, the Nazgûl were not invincible. Their greatest weakness was their dependence on Sauron and the One Ring. Without his will guiding them, they were aimless and powerless, as shown during Sauron's absence in the early period of the Third Age. They also feared fire, a force of light and life that could repel their darkness. At Weathertop, Aragorn used flaming brands to drive them away and protect Frodo. Their greatest vulnerability, however, was the strength of those who resisted their terror. The hobbits, with their unassuming courage, demonstrated this perfectly. Though Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin felt the Nazgûl's dread, their resilience allowed them to evade capture until aid arrived. Additionally, the bravery of characters like Éowyn and Merry Brandybuck showed that even the most fearsome of foes could fall to courage and resolve. The ringwraith's fate was tied to Sauron's. As his power grew during the War of the Ring, so too did theirs. The Witch King led the assault on Minas Tirith in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, his presence heralding despair. Mounted on his fell beast, he seemed invincible, casting down King Theoden and taunting his enemies with his prophecy of invulnerability.
Do you not know death when you see it, old man?
But prophecy has its twists. In a legendary moment, Éowyn, disguised as a soldier, faced the Witch King. When he declared that no man could kill him, Éowyn famously replied,
"I am no man,"
before plunging her sword into his spectral form. Aided by Merry's strike with a barrow blade, an enchanted dagger that severed his connection to Sauron. And so, the Witch King was destroyed. The remaining Nazgûl were present during the final battle at the Black Gate, where they sought to overpower the armies of the West. But their doom was sealed when Frodo destroyed the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom. With Sauron's power annihilated, the Nazgûl were consumed in the ensuing eruption, their shadowy forms unraveling as their master's spirit was cast into the void. After the fall of Sauron, the Nazgûl vanished from the world, their essence utterly destroyed. Their legacy, however, endures as a testament to the corrupting influence of power and the dangers of succumbing to ambition. Once mighty kings, they became specters of despair, bound to a master who saw them as nothing more than tools. In the broader context of Tolkien's world, the Nazgûl serve as cautionary figures, symbols of how even the greatest of men can fall when they place their trust in power rather than virtue. The tale of the Nazgûl is one of darkness, corruption, and fear, but also of resilience and hope. Their strength was immense, yet it was the unlikeliest of characters, the humble hobbits, the shield maiden of Rohan, who stood against them and prevailed. As we look back on their shadowy journey, we are reminded that even the most terrifying forces in Middle-earth are not beyond defeat. For in the end, the light of courage and the bonds of fellowship prove stronger than the darkness of the Nazgûl. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.